Northern Illinois University had a special visitor Tuesday to help the DeKalb community learn about neurodiversity and autism. WIFR reporter Bria Walters talks to author and speaker Dr. Temple Grandin about how everyone thinks different.
I hope they take away a new awareness of what it means to be neurodivergent.
Northern Illinois University's STEAM organization hosts a resource and activity fair to show its resources for neurodivergent community members. The event included activities for all ages and ended with a lecture called Great Minds Are Not All the Same from world-renowned author and speaker Dr. Temple Grandin.
It's fantastic to see so many people. I'm hearing some great conversations, people who are excited to be here, excited to learn, excited to maybe celebrate the way their brain works.
Grandin breaks down people with autism into 3 different thinking styles: visual, verbal logic, and musical mathematical, and she says they complement each other.
As I want to talk about different ways that people think and how they give you different approaches to problem solving. Visual thinkers like me who think in photorealistic pictures, can see solutions to problems, invent all kinds of equipment. Then you have your mathematical, traditional engineers. You need to have both.
Grandin, who herself is on the spectrum, says every thinking style serves a different purpose for those with autism. In her case, Grandin's visual mind helps her work with animals, while a verbal logic thinker may be better at history, and a musical mathematical mind would be better at something like chemistry.
These different kinds of minds, we need the skills. We want to stay ahead in electronics, material science, batteries, all these different things. We're going to need the skills of the people who think differently.
In DeKalb, Bria Walters, WIFR News.
Though Grandin speaks about how the human brain works, she is a professor of animal science at Colorado State University. Dr. Grandin sold and signed copies of her book at the event as well. The books range from topics on navigating autism to working with farm animals.